Oh, hi. Now, there's 3 stages of your gaming life. It's not always one way, though, because it can go back and forth, but normally it progresses from the first stage up down to the 3rd stage. First stage is what I like to call the poor stage. It's before you have a job, when you're a little kid, or maybe a little bit older than that, before you have the means to buy your own games. You have to pretty much rely on the mercy of your parents. Any game that you can get, you just are so grateful for that game. Like, you don't even care what it is. This is kind of the stage that forms what games that you're going to be into when you get older, I think. You know, parents that would buy their kids Nintendo games are growing up Nintendo fans. Or the games that you get as a child, those are the games that you cherish because it's all you have. Even if some people might think they're a bad game, you are just like, you know, I'm so grateful for this game that, to me, it's a great game. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. I can't tell you how many games that I enjoyed as a child that are just so badly designed, so terrible. Hercules 64 is almost unplayable, but I remember just how magical that game was. Like, it was huge, this huge open world. Obviously, like, if that was made today, everybody would be like, oh, we already know it's gonna be shit. Fun fact, Star Fox Adventures was the first Star Fox I ever played, so I didn't really have any concept of, like, they ruining the franchise. You know, it was amazing to me. It was a huge open world, lots of content, really long story with all these crazy power-ups. So pretty much, when you're in this first stage, and you just hold on and cling to every game that you get, this is a stage where you will pretty much complete every single game that you get. You will play them so much because you're just so grateful to have them. So, eventually, you will get a job or, you know, something like that, but you'll eventually get the means to just buy a game that you want. I call it the gluttony stage. You have money, you can buy any game you want, so you buy every game you want. You know, buy every game that looks cool. And this is a stage where you end up with more games than you're even going to play. Usually, you'll have like one game that you are beating 100%, and then the other games you're just like playing as a break, you know, for that one game. And, you know, sometimes you don't even have a primary game. You have so many games that you're just like, you play a new game every day. Maybe you play it like for a few days, move on to the next game. Maybe you go back and forth. But whatever order or however, you know, system you're putting, the fact of the matter is, in this stage, you're not going to be able to complete or get the most out of all of these games. So you end up just accumulating, you know, all these tons of games. This is just a small sample size, but just like a few months, because I was like, new system, gotta buy new games. And most of these I didn't play that much. I would buy a game because of a certain feature that I thought was cool, and the minute I got to use that feature, I was like, alright, now I can play a different game. Now, eventually, you will get broke so many times, there will be a few games, or maybe just one big game that really just burns you, like you've been looking forward to something for so long, and it's just so shitty. And eventually something's gonna snap in your brain, and you're gonna say, I can't buy games anymore unless I know they're good, because this is bullshit. Eventually you're just gonna get fed up with the bullshit, and you're gonna stop buying games, except for games that you are 100% sure that you are going to play. This is the 3rd stage, is the miser stage. You are completely unwilling to buy any game unless you know for sure that you're going to put a lot of hours into it. This could range. You might have your own value for a game, you know. Some people do like however many dollars it is, that's how many hours should be in the game. This is the stage where you're actually going to be like scouring the reviews, you're going to be looking at the Metacritic score, you're going to be going, this is the stage where people will look at 8 out of 10s and say that's not worth it. You can easily relapse, right, from the 3rd stage to the 2nd stage. You can relapse when there's like a Steam sale, you know, and then you feel like a kid again because it feels like you can buy all these games that you want because they're only like a few dollars each, and then you forgot about last year where you spent over $100 and you still haven't played any of the Steam games that you bought during that sale. That's kind of like a holiday. It's like you forget about all your worries and you just drop all this money. It's basically a holiday. You can never really get back to the first stage. That stage where you're just so grateful for every game that you get and you play it so much and you cherish that game. You'll never get back to that first stage, ever. You can get back to the second stage where you are, trusting games again and you're buying all these cool games, but you can never go all the way back to the first stage unless you have like a brain, aneurysm or something. Or if you go completely poor and you're like homeless, there's no way for you to ever buy a game. Then maybe you can get back to that first stage, but you're still always in the back of your mind. No matter how tight your budget is, you're still always going to be thinking in that third stage mindset of, I have to only buy the games I know for sure are going to be good. And it feels awful to just look at all these games and know that they're not worth your money, even if you've already bought them. That's the worst part, is when you have all these games and you're looking at them and you're like, I want to play a video game, but I don't feel like playing any of these games. And you just feel like all of this money, you start thinking about what else you could have bought with all this money, and it's just going to drive you crazy. Just have to ignore it, or else you're just gonna be depressed. Just be careful with your money, Now, let me get back to my little thing here. I thought that would go through.